You know, this election is about jobs. And we haven't talked a lot about jobs. How are we going to create jobs? And we've got to do this together. We've got to work together to get this country back on track, to get people back to work. That's our challenge here in this. When you get people back to work, they pay taxes, right? They're getting a paycheck, and taxes are increased. So our cities, our local governments have additional revenue. But here's how we get people back to work. Number one, we've got to increase our trade opportunities. And I know that you especially understand that on this side of the mountains. I was the lead Republican on the Ways and Means Committee on the Korean trade agreement. I worked on the Colombian agreement, traveled to Korea, traveled to Colombia, and worked with those leaders of those countries. I'm on the trade subcommittee, as I said, and today we're working on the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which really opens up a lot of markets for Washington State. 12 countries now involved in those discussions. I am a member of the President's Export Council. There are 2 Republicans that are members of that Export Council. I've met with the President twice. I've met with his cabinet on other occasions when the President isn't there. But the whole goal of that Export Council is to increase and double our exports over the next 10 years. Only 2 Republicans from the House side on that committee. Pat Tiberi from Ohio and myself, working with, in a bipartisan way, with the administration. We're also working on the Russia WTO issue and a trade agreement with Moldova, where Jim McDermott and I have partnered together and actually co-sponsored this bill. So talk about bipartisanship. 2 people couldn't be further apart, I think, in their politics, but we're working on a bill together. The other piece of the job picture, trade, and there's also the thing that I know that all of you understand, and that's bureaucratic red tape. The government piles it on you, from the local government, from the city government, from the county to the state to the federal. Let's just throw the federal government on just to add a little bit more weight. My son, as I said, has a business in Kashmir. My brother has a business on the west side. My daughter, my son-in-law, and my other son-in-law each have their own business. I hear from them every day. Their taxes are now increasing to the point where they're almost paying 45%. We can't allow that to happen. You can't pay 45% in taxes and hire people and grow your business. So we've got bills that will increase access to revenue for small businesses, give them tax incentives and tax breaks to increase their business so they can hire people. So that leads, and I just talked about it, just touched on it, tax reform. Tax reform to create an opportunity, to create certainty for businesses, get rid of the red tape, reform taxes that are in favor of small businesses, and create a market for our American goods. Sell American. 95% of our market is across the ocean, around this globe. We need to sell American. That's what we do best. Thank you.
Thank you, Congressman. Ms. Porterfield, closing statement.
So the skills we're looking for in Congress at this point in our history are people who can work collaboratively with many groups, with Republicans, with Democrats, with people who have good ideas, who are willing to reach out and listen. My opponent, Congressman Reichert, likes to remind us that he used to be sheriff. I think that's great. He has given his career to public service. But the skills that make you successful as a sheriff, command and control, don't work in Congress. It is about compromise. It is about building partnerships. It is about building connection. That's what it takes. And we are facing complex issues that won't have easy answers. And we need people who can bring the skill set to have these conversations. And it starts with talking to you. What are your priorities? What are your goals? Because it doesn't matter how effective that government is if it's not doing what you want. Now, Congressman Reichert has talked about regulations as a significant barrier to business. Listen, if you've just read this week's Forbes magazine, you know what business said? Uncertainty. They don't know what the people in Washington, D.C. are going to do next. So those businesses are sitting on money and they're waiting. And you know what the world bet is? That Congress isn't going to find a solution to the budget deficit, and they're going to kick that can down the road again, prolonging uncertainty. So if we want to continue with uncertainty, if we want to continue with the problems we have, then we will vote for the same people we have voted for. Now, the one thing you know as a management consultant, when you work with people, if you do the same thing that you continue to do, you get the same results. So we have to make some choices about how we institute change. This congressman has been a part of the failed Republican leadership back there. They have run an obstructionist agenda, and you know what? They have been proud of it. They have boasted about it. They have talked about how they have stopped legislation, that things haven't been discussed. They're okay that the agriculture bill didn't come to the floor for a vote, and frankly, they're okay that people don't have jobs. The fact that they weren't even willing to bring the President's Job Recovery Act to the floor for debate and conversation means it's okay to them that people in my family are still looking for work. That's not okay. And frankly, that's not the behavior I expect from people who are here to serve us. Congressman Reichert is right. When you step into public service, it is because you truly want to serve the people. But I don't see a lot of that happening in Washington, D.C. right now, and that's why we need a change.